The podcast you are listening to of Holmberg's Morning Sickness is brought to you by my friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Trust me on this one. You've had barbecue before, but you haven't had it this good. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale, ericsfamilybbq.com.
When was the last time you had really good Texas-style barbecue? Eric's Family Barbecue, the way it's supposed to taste. Always delicious, never rushed, and prepared to perfection. Eric's Family Barbecue uses only 100% fresh meat, slowly smoked over mesquite wood until it's juicy and delicious. We all know their brisket is the best, but have you tried their pulled pork ribs, or rib tips? Amazing, and their sides are all house-made. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Make the trip. You won't be sorry. Go to ericsfamilybbq.com for more information.
Holmberg's Morning Sickness.
You've been deceived by an agent of Satan himself. He's evil.
Sitting right here. Come on.
No, he's not evil. He's just a bit rude.
98 UPT.
Good morning, everybody. Hello there. Welcome to Friday. It's 5:45. My name's John Holmberg. This is the Morning Sickness. There's Brady Bogan. Brett Besley's back. Look at that.
Hey.
Everybody thought you were fired. Big Dick Toledo. Everybody wants him fired. It's a beautiful thing. We're off on a Friday morning, and a glorious day at that. It's flat out perfect. Once again, living in paradise. October, November in this city you cannot beat. Top to bottom. Brett's back from Chicago. Anything to report? Any family business? Anything we should know?
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff I can't speak of. But,
of course.
Waste management back there is going very well.
It's why you're in radio.
Operations are smooth.
You get into radio so you can say things like, I can't talk about it. It's something I don't want to discuss.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
But, had some family stuff I had to take care of back there. And
That's so bad.
Well, no, I didn't even mean it that way. But
you're making it worse.
All right.
I hope it all
Other than
got
that, no,
taken
nothing.
care of. No, crazy, nothing happened. It's all good.
I mean,
Okay,
as far
that's a good
as
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got to catch
Usually-
a White Sox game. That was nice. Got to break away from the family for a few minutes.
You got to go to the arrow pointing down stadium?
Yep.
That's good
That's
stuff.
it.
And then
Went
they
to a
got
Cane's, I saw.
Yes, I did do that.
Raising Cane's?
Yeah.
You posted that?
I was kind of asked to from one hand.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
one of
Oh,
those
I
deals.
see. You're supposed to go to, so it's a sales-driven
Yeah,
thing.
pretty much.
Oh, I gotcha.
Pretty much.
So one of the salespeople's like, hey, while you're in Chicago, why not tell people how delicious Raising Cane's is in Chicago? Of course.
Well, it was one of those things like, hey, don't forget you gotta post something on social media about Raising Cane's this week. And I'm like, I'm in Chicago. So
they got
all
him there.
right.
So you had to go to Raising Cane's?
Yes, I did.
Then you found one. You're like, all
I
right.
found one. Yeah,
They
here
got
we
him.
go.
There you go.
You can see the scowl on my face. It's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, you were in, the White Sox park probably has Raising Cane's close by. That's probably, all right. I got all sorts of stuff like that. Hey, well, good for you, Brett. And always a company man. That's
Yes.
what I like.
It is.
Still working while I'm out there.
Exactly. You can write that trip off now.
Oh, man, that's a great idea.
You can. They made you work. You had to go. This is great for, like, I can crooked account all day long and make it work. You were told on your vacation to get the work done that you need to get done. So
Yeah.
now it becomes a work trip. You had to fly to Chicago to show, man, when I'm gone, I eat at Raising Cane's.
Yeah.
He was so excited.
Oh, my
That's
God,
not-
Brett, that picture is electric. Wow.
Yeah, I was thrilled.
Ice-T went to
Jesus, yeah.
Cane's.
The gray sky in the back says, what a wonderful afternoon that had to be for you and your scowl. Man, oh, man. I love the chicken. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to too close to the building, though.
When I'm hangry.
Yeah, I'm down here at Raising Cane's right now. I'm in South Chicago, so this is 2 minutes. I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Business.
Yeah. The city's a shoot 'em up. Did you hear any gunshots?
No, nothing.
My friend
Nothing,
Mike-
not even by Sox Park.
Buddy Mike lives in West Loop in Chicago, and he tells me, and West Loop's really nice.
Yeah.
It's been gentrified, I guess they call that. Just
Rehab.
Used to be Cabrini down there.
It was bad. It's right there, right across the freeway is the United Center and the Cabrini Greens
Yeah.
and the projects and things like that. We're right across. You go to West Loop now, and I think it's Randolph Street and all that stuff
Yeah.
down there. It's, man, oh man,
It's all Starbucks.
beautiful
and-
Starbucks,
yeah.
and like they have butcher shops and these like little. Everything's farm to table and like amazing little spots that are. Oh, this old building used to be a warehouse. Yeah, it used to be for like dead bodies, and like this is where 20 people got shot for no reason whatsoever. And you guys are like putting flower beds in, and it's really nice now. But across the way, it's a shooting gallery is right there. And he said sometimes it bleeds over. Once he said, I asked him once. I said, "Do you hear the gunshots?" And he said, "We have heard several gunshots because sometimes it comes under the freeway, like it'll go towards us." And he said, so when it's on our side, yeah, we'll hear it every once in a while. And I'm like, no kidding. And I'm like, is it frequent? And he goes, more than you'd like. He goes, the fact that I can tell you I've heard multiple gunshots in my home is a little more than you'd like. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, is it as bad as Because like when we get a monsoon, everybody thinks we're drowning in mud and dirt for months outside of Phoenix. We know what it is.
Just a mud wash.
They're like they're going to die. Well, because on TV that looks horrifying.
Yeah.
To people who don't know what it is. Same with the reporting in Chicago. It's like, is it just everybody getting shot? And my buddy Mike's like, it's as bad. It's as bad as they're saying. It's awful up here. It's horrifying. You got to watch where you go.
They're even getting shootings on Michigan Avenue, which if you don't know, I mean, that's kind of like Melrose or Rodeo.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
his wife
that's
was beaten up and mugged on Michigan Avenue
Really?
on Black Friday of all days. Not like
What an
that,
enjoyable
Brett.
walk,
Come on,
too.
I forgot he's been gone for 4 days. Black Friday after Thanksgiving, Brett. Jesus Christ.
That's what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, some guy just came up and just slugged her in the face, knocked her cold. I mean,
man.
full out. Went Marciano on her, but boom, right in the face, knocked her
Marciano.
cold. Finishes her, she wakes up, and then the guy gets in a cab. And the cab driver's like, I just watched you do that. I'm not taking you anywhere. Took her bags and everything else, and then a bunch of people pulled him out.
She had to have been asking for it.
That's what I think.
I've been down Michigan Avenue numerous times.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Nobody's gonna slug you.
He jumped in a cab.
Yeah,
What an
right
idiot.
there next to where he
That's
got
crazy.
This lady's kind of like out of it. Her whole face was black. I mean, he connected full on fist to eye. And if you think about it, you'd never expect that. I do the self-defense stuff. You cannot defend just standing there and a guy deciding to go, I'm going to hit this person as hard as I can.
Right.
Yeah. You don't expect
know what's
that
coming
in your day. So she had her bag, her purse, and she's always dressed really well. She's got expensive stuff, and right there on Michigan Avenue.
Wow.
That was it. Turned her lights out. And Chicago's different.
But the neighborhood beat the guy up.
A couple of guys pulled him out of the cab and beat him up. And then,
Nice.
Yeah, and then they followed through and
Chicago justice.
went right to jail for a good long time. He had a couple priors. And
Of course.
You don't just go slugging people your first day. But yeah, her face, I'm not like from her eyebrow down to her chin was as black as an iPhone. It was busted. Blew her up.
That's Chirac for you.
Yeah, it is a weird place, and it's a shame too because it's one of the greatest cities
awesome.
ever. But there's certain spots you want to kind of avoid. I like New York better than Chicago as far as like just feeling okay.
Do you?
Because there's always
You feel
witnesses.
safer in New York between walking down the...
Well, because like New York has bad stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
And there are people who will just do stuff in the middle of a crowd. But for the most part, New York's always buzzing. So you're never alone really, unless you try to be. To me, there's definitely not the safest place in the world, but I'm not worried. I've been to New York City, and I never really leave where I am and walk around going, oof, I don't know where I am. I pretty much just stay where the people are.
Yeah.
You don't get in bunches, but that one doesn't bother me as much. Chicago gets nerve-wracking because you can be walking along a street and you're like, I'm alone.
It changes from block to block sometimes. Yeah, like you go a half block to one side.
I'm probably far too casual about how I am downtown.
Well, the vibe is definitely so much
totally different. But I don't have a healthy fear walking around downtown Phoenix. I mean, I've done some wandering for no reason. I walked home from the H&H Ranch once. Just like, let's see if I can pull this off. A couple drinks get in me, and I start thinking that I'm kung fu, and I'll start wandering around. It's like 8.5 miles.
You walked from the H&H Ranch to your pad?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's a hell of a walk.
I've done that 2 times. It was just dumb because I'm like, I don't have a car down here. I don't feel like an Uber. I was like, I'm going to hoof it. I'll see what I can get done.
Jeez.
So it's not terrible, but you'll walk by some situations and go, I shouldn't do this. And then I went to my car at 3 a.m. once. That's the only thing about the H&H Ranch that's spooky because it's right there in downtown. And I walked to go get my car, which I'd left at Stand Up Live. And it was like 3:34 in the morning. I was coming here. And I'm like, I need to park in the facility because it gets weird. And when I went on my ride,
there was some action going on.
There's people that shouldn't be. Nothing good is going on at 3:30 in downtown Phoenix where people are just out. The people who are out are looking at me like, what are you doing here?
It's like the purge.
They're worried about me. They're looking at me like, what's his deal? And so, you swell up a little bit and do your, and I just start going, I just turn into one of them. But, so when I went on that ride along with my cop buddy, he turned to me. It was 11 hours and it was in November. Sun goes down about 5:30 a little bit. And we were right there. I think it was Van Buren and 16th or 24th Street. And he goes, did you see that? I'm like, what? And he goes, did you feel it? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, sun's down. I'm like, oh, yeah. And he goes, no. Did you feel it? I'm like, no. And he goes, this city just got real violent. I'm like, what? And he goes, that's one thing people don't know about this city is it is violent here. I'm like, really? Like, and he goes, yep. He said,
They'd always say that about even Guadalupe.
Oh, they always said that about Guadalupe.
Yeah.
It's a scary, violent place. I don't know that that's true. The dogs, maybe the pit bulls, but we do have. Look, comparing this to Chicago, New York is absurd.
Nothing, yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. But there's areas you just don't want to wander around in out here. It's a good, healthy fear to wander in downtowns and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. It's good to have you back.
Thank you,
Brett. I'm getting tips from people. It says, oh, geez, yeah, just write it off and have Raising Cane's pay for the entire trip. I don't know if you want to do that to the client. I don't think these accountants are taking it one step too far, but that's a write-off.
That's not a bad idea.
Expense the whole thing. And plus, remember when I sent you to Chicago a little bit ago to go see a White Sox game before the playoffs to report back how
that's right.
How Chicago was doing when it's not the Cubs because it benefits. There's another one for you.
Is Tripp going to sign off on this?
If it's taxes, he doesn't care.
Oh,
and he doesn't need to, yeah.
Well, he said expense it, so I was like, I don't know if he's going to.
Although when I got audited, they wanted to call him.
Did they?
Yeah. Because they wanted to call him to make sure that my.
Verify?
Well, yeah, but I'm like, that's easy. Go ahead. I wasn't pulling it.
It's our man. He's going to, come on.
I got audited because somebody made 2 companies out of my Social Security number that I didn't own. That was my audit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it still exists. I still deal with it every April. I'm like, all right, well, this I have to explain away. We have to write a letter every time because I've got these guys that run these companies. And if they can do that and they have a company and we can't stop the company, I have to deal with it every time. It's crazy. So one of them went away. The other one hangs around. They pay people on my Social Security number. And then
still roofing.
Yeah, there's a roofing in an event planning company. And one of them is like the event planning company has a website. And I'm like, well, their payroll is like tied to me somehow, and then that means that all the profits from everything go to the. Yeah, I think the one was I made like $27,000 in 6 months. It wasn't tons, but they still had no tax.
But you're not reporting.
I'm reporting it. Well, they're reporting it. I'm just not.
Right.
I'm not paying on it.
You're not.
It's all tax free.
Well, if I ever decide to get married, I'm just going to hit up your event planning company.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let me get you some numbers.
Thanks.
I know a guy. Well, I don't know him. I am him. Somehow or another, I'm running that thing, and it's done pretty well. The worst part is seeing that guy's exponential growth. The first year, he was like $27,000. The next year, when everything was clean, it was like $140,000. I'm like, this guy's doing really well.
Killing it.
What does he need my social for? Why is he running this thing on my identity? Probably not legal is the guess of the IRS. So good. The letters were fun. And nothing better than having an IRS agent that listens to you, because my first one didn't and didn't have time for my anything. And then the next guy's like, you've been assigned a local agent. He was super cool. And he's like, love the show. And I'm like, oh, this is even better. But then the love the show ended and the IRS guy started. There's 2 different people involved. Like, he's one dude, but he's like, oh, God, this is what an awesome thing. I listened to the show for years. I'm like, oh, cool. Thank you. And we're going, and he goes, all right. Now, to avoid jail time, hold on a second. We were just talking about loving the show like 1 sentence ago. What's jail got to do with anything? Well, I mean, if this comes out against you, this is fraudulent this, fraudulent that. I'm like, well, and he said, you don't have to worry because it's not your company. So I'm like, man, did you ever just turn on a dime? A second ago, we were friends, and now you're telling me you have to arrest me if things go south?
He's like Stallone, and over the top, he turns a hat around, and all of a sudden
he's a different dude.
Lincoln Hawk.
I picture all my IRS agents to be in torn tank tops and backwards trucker hats. So, yeah, it was a disaster.
Back in the day when you would actually could reach out to one and talk to one.
Well, they reach out to you.
Yeah.
You're
Right now, there's nothing going on.
Good luck. Hey, Brady, if they want to call you, they'll reach out to you.
Yeah, they'll find a way.
If you're trying to call them, you're wasting your time.
All right.
Well,
but
they
now
they're
saying,
they call all the time. Trust me. They don't stop calling. I had 3 of them. Like, I don't have my ringer on my phone ever, and I'd look and I'd be like 9 messages, and from like 3:31 to 3:52, 9 people called me. They have to get back to us. The deadline's 10 days, and I'm like, for what? A deadline for what? It's horrifying. IRS calling you is horrifying. You're going to lose every time. I ended up writing a check for stuff that some was mine, some wasn't, because they had to go through all my records, and then they just found mistakes in other areas, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Really? Like, yeah, you didn't do this right.
All right,
like,
what do you want?
Is this what we were initially investigating? No, we just have to do the whole return.
Oh.
Okay. Well, have we gotten rid of the problems? Nope, not yet. You need to write letters to prove you don't own those things. Put pen to paper on that.
Who writes letters anymore?
I don't own those things. I cannot prove that I don't own those things. How do you prove you don't own anything?
But if you got a bar mitzvah to plan, we got you covered over here.
How do I prove I don't own?
Unless they come out and physically check that, yeah.
Right.
Well.
Through a letter.
Yeah.
Tell me the words that say you don't own that building right there.
Yeah.
and prove it through a letter. You're feeling an idiot. It's like, I don't own the Green Bay Packers. I know paperwork says that I do own the Green Bay Packers, but that's not my paperwork. And you don't know how that got there. Yeah.
Isn't it up to them to research it, like maybe and call
Find the
your
title
event
or
planning company and talk to,
They do. And they just, did you just burp?
I did.
Very smooth. Thank you, Grandpa. You got a button for that, man. This isn't a deli.
It escaped.
Did not escape. It went right into the microphone. You're disgusting. Stop. Yesterday his nose just started bleeding out of nowhere.
Jeez.
Pretty soon we're going to have to put tampons in his ass because he's leaking. Hey, Jamie Lee Curtis, cool it. Grandpa just puked at lunch and made everybody, oh, man.
Toledo,
don't blame Toledo for this.
A trumpet the other day.
Don't distract that. No, yeah.
I missed the trumpet.
Oh, it was a bad one. Had a couple of good ones. Anyway, people are also emailing saying, all right, we've got all your opinions about it, but who cares? What did Bret think of the Sopranos movie? We've been waiting.
I mean, I didn't hear. We've talked about it, so I didn't hear what you said on the air. But
well, what do you think? Without even our,
I liked it. I thought it was very good. But like we've talked about, if you didn't watch the series, this movie, which I think, like we were talking about too, it almost seems like a pilot for a new show. Yeah. But this quote unquote movie it's not going to make any sense to you, really. But it was very well casted. It was very well acted.
And seemingly pointless.
Yeah.
Like, why am I watching this? If you didn't know the characters.
If you didn't know the characters, you're screwed.
Nobody got a jump start on the next level. I don't know what
But if this is the beginning of a series, I am 100% in because I thought it was amazing. Like an amazing pilot.
And I think most fans of the show feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I wasn't for a new series of The Sopranos. Right. I'm like, leave it alone. Don't. Because Better Call Saul might be the only one that decided to go, let's try this.
Yeah.
And they're rewriting Breaking Bad through Better Call Saul in the most intricate and incredible way. Making what happened on Breaking Bad change Breaking Bad without touching anything. It's incredible. Like, it's subtle, amazing writing. And it might be the only one.
It went down a new path, too, of
Breaking Bad?
because
Better Call Saul, it told the story of Mike Ehrmantraut.
Oh, but I'm talking about both the shows, from Breaking Bad to Better Call Saul. I don't know. There's a part of there's still an intrigue about the whole mafia thing, and
that'll never go away.
And I don't know if it's too late on the Sopranos thing or to rekindle.
Well, it wouldn't be about mafia.
Stuff.
It would be about one guy. I mean, you're only curious about Tony Soprano. Everybody's done with mafia stuff. I mean, mafia things have been done. That's all mafia movies is one guy.
Yeah,
you're really interested in that particular human journey.
Yeah,
but in this one, I
thought some of the side points, that would be just as interesting as the young Tony in a way.
Well, they'll have to do B plots, but still, I'm with you because I thought I don't want this as a series. Watch this, and I'm like, all right, if that's the pilot episode, I'm in. If it's a movie, I probably will never watch it again.
Gandolfini's kid, though, man,
really
did
good.
He have it down.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his dad's mannerisms down to it.
Yeah, the casting was good. Everything was good, but it was all right. Well, there you go. An Italian's approach, and it's pretty much what everybody else thought. How about your Italian family? Did you guys all sit down and discuss that? That had to be insane. I just thought of that. You just sat.
It's nothing but
in a full Italian. You know what I thought in the movie? They overdid that.
They did.
Seemed forced.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't do that. They were so natural in The Sopranos.
Dickie just kept throwing it out there, and I'm like, all right.
A couple of them were funny because they were so over the top. Did the whole Italian family sit and have
we didn't get it. No, we didn't watch it all together. I watched it on the plane.
But did they watch it? They had to all watch it. It's like mandatory.
My uncle did. I'm not sure if my aunts did or not. Well, they were just been running around with my mom.
And you double dipped on it. You've seen it twice.
I watched it twice. I watched it on the plane ride there and on the plane ride back.
That's a lot. And when you were in Chicago with the Italian family, you said to me off the air, I said, how was everything? It was just a bunch of guineas screaming at each other.
That's what it was.
Is that all that happened?
Pretty much. A lot of eating and a lot of yelling at each other.
This is my favorite thing about Italian families. I don't know. Brady's family probably has arguments that are passive-aggressive and then just get ignored. That would be my guess. Like, you guys will have a moment where, you've had them before. When Charlie told us, he goes, that Aunt Mary started this big argument and everybody just got real tense and then it just got smoothed over without a word. Where Mary started to tell Charlie he was going to hell in front of everybody, and Charlie.
I think most of the time it's like, that's their deal,
right?
Everyone goes.
And you've had fist fights at your Thanksgiving.
Not, that's not my family.
Well, that's true, but still a family fight.
That was here.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
My family is too mellow to
right, and that's what I'm
unless
thinking.
There's been people, too drunk before.
Right. You've got mellow. You've got a mellow calm.
Yeah.
Right. Your
and
stuff
if there's
just
a
turns
fight,
mellow.
that's between them.
And you did that.
Let's go over there and
sort of
and
when
play euchre.
When Ronnie's family started to bust into each other fisting. You're kind of like, well, this was brewing.
I'll go to the playground with the kids.
Yeah, you took
and the
off,
swing
which
set.
is smart.
A fist fight at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Brady's the only one in the whole room
man,
that's ever had
great.
a Thanksgiving fist fight.
That makes Thanksgiving all well worth it.
My sister killed my uncle, but that was different. You didn't hear me, but I said, you've met my sister, yeah?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. I wanted his approach, too. Because I've been watching a lot of this Dog the Bounty Hunter stuff as he's chasing Brian Laundrie. Yeah. And I realized that when he was crawling around the swamps the other day, he has the same hair as my sister.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know who
that's
worse for. I don't know.
I got to see a picture of yourself.
Because
Yeah, he knows because Brady started laughing like you're a dick, but you're right. So what was because the Italian family is my favorite thing is there's huge explosive fights and then it's over.
Yeah, that's all. That's always what it is. I mean, it's, I got a hotel room because I'm not staying with those lunatics. It was just too loud. I've been away from it too long, but, finding somewhere to eat.
Yeah.
And they got the cousins, my mom, her sister's on the phone, and everybody just trying to talk over each other. And, Medea's with me, and her head is just spinning like, what the hell are these lunatics?
Yeah.
She knew. I gave her the heads up ahead of time, but... just everybody screaming at each other on the phone trying to figure out where we're going to eat.
Yeah, but they're just shouting.
Just how
Shut
it
up!
works.
What are we doing?
Yeah. And
When was somebody make a decision over here?
Yeah, and then
I got to get in on this.
Then Medea's finally, she just fell into it. Then she started, all right, everybody, and she laid down the law.
And, this bitch here thinks she's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
And they loved her. They're like,
of course
that's
they
great.
did. She took charge of something. That's a strong woman right there, Bret. That's a good one. I like a lot more than that last one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did they bring that up?
Oh, yeah, that was brought up. That was definitely brought up.
I love the culture. The Italian. That last one you brought up, Maron. This one.
I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, this one's pretty good.
The good thing is you know where they stand. You know how they're feeling.
Oh, they don't hold back at all.
Usually after that person's gone.
When my divorce, one of my aunts was like, I never liked that bee anyway. And I'm like, all right then, you met her twice.
That's all right, Bret. We never liked that bitch anyway. We talk about a constant. Anyway, well, welcome back. Bret's back, everybody. And we were talking yesterday. I don't know if you watched this. The Chapelle special was on.
I didn't.
And everybody's going nuts over like that. Boy, oh boy, did they miss the boat on that. Did you watch it? I watched it.
I didn't
great.
watch it, but I read 50 Cent had a comment about it because he does
phenomenal.
a joke on DaBaby.
Oh, DaBaby's a great one. And that's a fact. While I'm watching it, I'm
50
like...
said that's funny as all get because he represents.
Yeah, it's poignant. And he basically said DaBaby, who it is true, because I laughed, and I remember we talked about it when DaBaby got in trouble for, it was weird what he was saying, because he started to go off about homosexuals and AIDS and things like that. Dave takes, like, this is the most aggressive he's ever been. This special, I think, is really good. It might be his best to me as far as, like, just the most Chapelle-ish.
Better than the Jussie Smollett
stuff? That was just a great... that was just an amazing
story assessment.
But but the way he presented that was great. This one was really funny too. But he said the thing. He goes, DaBaby shot and killed person. He doesn't say person.
Right.
In Walmart, and he goes, nothing bad happened to his career. You see where I'm going with this? And he goes, he offended or hurt the feelings of a homosexual, and he's never allowed to work again. And so he's like, that's where our country is. You can shoot and kill a black man in Walmart, but don't you dare hurt the feelings of a homosexual. So it was basically like the truth that nobody wants to hear. And if you watch it, the whole thing is essentially his journey through being misunderstood as somebody who's talked about the confusion of LGBTQ. He's never made jokes about it. He's made off-color remarks. And if you watch it, you're like, this guy is brilliantly saying, you missed my point. And, of course, at the end, these idiots are trying to get him pulled off Netflix and everything else because they missed it again. And this was just a philosopher on stage tearing down the facade of the clean image of how things are presented and saying, no. You guys can't have it every way you want. And then he tells a story at the end about a friend of his who was trans. And it's it's fairly touching. It's there's a curveball in it. And you're like, man, this is really well presented. I think he's the best that's ever told a stage story.
Yeah,
and he's outstanding. It's pretty great. It's a good special. But again, you're watching it, you're like, we can't win in this country because people aren't listening to each other. What they heard was him say tranny and then got mad immediately because they went in wanting to be mad. If you look for being mad, you're going to be mad. But that's what they did. They clicked on the Netflix special and says, if he says anything I don't like, I'm going to be mad about all of it. And he's going to be hateful, transphobic, anti-gay, He's like, that's what you want? Come get it. And I love it. He's exactly the type of person we need to be on the forefront of FU to the cancel culture.
And
but you know what's going to happen?
Come get me.
He's going to walk away.
I'm rich and famous.
Yeah, he's going to walk away.
Yeah.
He's not going to do anything for a while because he's like, I don't want to be the spokesperson against people because I'm not against anyone. That's what they do. They make you, he's not saying this, they make you have a stance.
Yeah,
They corner you and pit you into this thing like where you have to defend yourself, and it makes it look like you're defending that you're a transphobe. And you're not. It's like, I don't want to defend my position against all people. He's pretty great.
And that's the best part about Chapelle. He don't care.
It's a great special.
If you don't like it, screw it.
There's a couple things
and
in
he's
there.
at the point where, like, I don't have to do
right.
that.
I can just walk away. Whatever.
And he is the one that walked away.
Yep.
He talks about that with the Me Too movement. He said, look, I'm the one who walked away from $50 million because I saw what was going on. Jim Brewer told me that years ago. We were on the phone, and I said, because he was telling me that the Epstein thing, way before anybody talked about it, was one of the reasons why he couldn't tolerate Hollywood. And he goes,
and just wait, you'll see.
And I found out 5 or 6 years later he was talking about Epstein. I didn't know that at the time. He said, there's just a guy, and he's in charge of other things. And it all sounded conspiratorial. He goes, it'll all come out. Trust me, it'll all come out. And he goes, and they will paint me as a crazy person. But I walked away from this because I have feelings and thoughts about the way it worked that were just horrifying. He goes, why do you think Chapelle left? I'm like, I have no idea. And then so we started to talk about like this weird culture of deviance that, they make people do in order to become celebrity.
If you want to make the commitment.
Right, and the road you have to take to get to certain people is definitely not clean. And he goes, and he saw it. He goes, you do stand-up comedy. Next thing you know, you got an agent asking you to do this and this and this, and you start to see the inner workings of the other thing. You see the pretty girl that wants the job, and how she's going to get that job is definitely a well-known. You need to talk to him, and him. And by talk, I don't mean talk. And it's like, and they're doing it. And he goes, I know what happens to those girls. And he said it was awful. So, yeah, he told me that about Chapelle leaving way before, because nobody ever knew he went crazy. They just said, oh, Dave went crazy. But Dave was like, I don't want to be part of this anymore. And just disappeared. It's pretty amazing. The story, someday I hope he just sits and spills it, but he never has. Came closest on Inside the Actors Studio.
Yeah.
When he started to talk about Martin Lawrence.
It is getting
what's
closer.
Going on there. But he's not really spilling any beans. I don't think he wants to be the spokesperson. I don't think he wants to be bothered by it. That's pretty good. That special's incredible. Like, it's that stand-up where you don't laugh as much as you just go, brilliant. Just flat brilliant. Just makes you think, which is good because that means you're listening.
He doesn't want to be the Corey Feldman and try to blow the whistle.
Exactly.
And then be, colored as a crazy person.
Right. And like Corey Feldman should have never taken on anything. No one wanted to be on his team, and he was probably right.
Yeah.
He probably stood there and was right the entire. It's
was
the Jose Canseco thing.
That guy was 100%
Jose
right.
Canseco was never wrong. He was just nuts because he made himself seem a little nuts. He participated in it. I mean, there's nobody. It's
and continued it.
It's when mob guys spin. Like Henry Hill and stuff like that. When they start talking, they get like everything seems insane. But if you want somebody to spill the beans, you want the person doing it to spill it. When Jose Canseco came clean in Major League Baseball, they just shunned him. Like, oh, this guy, what's he talking about? And he's like, I was the one putting the needles in that dude. Yeah. I'm like, I did it. Like, you listen to me. I'm admitting I did it, and I'm admitting also
Mark, you were in the room with me.
Yeah. And you know why?
Shaking his head, no.
I think he was worried that the Congress was going to start asking him questions under penalty of perjury like they did all the other guys. But they always paint that person as a nutball, and then later we forget they were the ones that were right the entire time. Canseco couldn't have been more right. And he's never getting the credit for that.
No.
Ever. And he's the one who's kind of like, you never listened. I was trying to tell you. And it's like, yeah, but you're nuts. David Ferry from the JFK thing was trying to tell everybody who was doing what. But he looked nuts, and he acted nuts, and it was like, it's a riddle wrapped in an
Roids
enigma.
in baseball back in the day were almost like getting the vaccination back then.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but...
You should.
Yeah.
It's the difference between 13 and 26 home runs, and that's about a $4 million swing. Like, shoot me up. That's a good point, too. You start looking at all these athletes that are like, I'm not going to put a needle in my body. You crazy? The ones that won't get vaccinated, and yet all of baseball was just jamming needles in each other like crazy.
But that ground-up Elkhorn put it in me.
Yeah, in the 80s and 90s, if you talk to Mark Grace and the guys, they... Well, geez, that football player we talked to a while ago, Bill, used to say that they at halftime they had orange wedges and then like bowls of pills that were labeled for here's one's going to get you going if you're feeling down a little bit. Baseball had the same thing. the uppers, and the pills were in a bowl as you walked out to the field. Speckled trout. Yeah, they called special names for these things, like they were Tic Tacs.
I was in a hotel room this weekend, and I threw a PN, and they had the 86 Mets 30 for 30. Have you seen that one?
I hear it's great.
It's great, and they start talking about that. Like even Keith Hernandez is like, yeah, we were all drinking coffee before the games. Who does that? Because there was speed in it.
Yeah,
and they just, and he said the same thing. We had just bowls of it.
Yeah, because they were doing day-night doubleheaders.
And that was brutal.
Oh, it's brutal.
The worst was that transition.
You play from 7 till 11, and then you got to be at the stadium again at 9 the next day to play a 1 o'clock game. And, you're not winding down from a baseball game until like 1 in the morning, and then you're beat. It's an athletic endeavor, and you got to do that 2-3 times a week. They started to, hey, this helps me get going. It's great.
Combo that up with all the traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's called Adderall, and everyone can get a doctor to say, here you go. It's the same stuff. And it's fantastic. I tell you, I've been doing it for a while, and I love it.
Like that.
It's really good. I'm not doing it recently, but I have, and it's been pretty good. Let's get a wake-up song and welcome Bret home. 585-9800, a good one, and we'll scream it together. It's 98 KUPD. Wake up!
Arizona's most powerful rock radio station.
He said, fully erect.
98 KUPD.
You've been listening to Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Eric'sFamilyBBQ.com.